Okay, so here I am able to see a tag called input tag. By mouse hovering on this tag, I am able to see a button. Whatever the button I am inspecting, that button is highlighted, right? So to identify this button using Selenium, we have to use some attributes present on this tag. So we have some attributes called ID attribute, class attribute here, and name attribute. We also have some more attributes like value, type and all. So but we are not going to worry much about that, right? So I will tell you why the reason is, right? To identify any object, right? So we have some set of predefined methods in Selenium. So those methods we'll be discussing, right? So let me start working with this example now, right? To work with this, I'm just going back to my Eclipse and I will create my class with the name Gmail demo. Okay, so I'm just naming my class as Gmail demo, and I need main method to execute my class. So I have just clicked on main method, click on finish. Okay, by clicking on finish, I should be able to see a class, new class created with the name Gmail demo. So let me increase the font here. So I'm just going to preference general, okay. So this is the example which I have created just now. So this is the comment, so just I'm removing the comment here. Okay, now let's try to work with my Firefox browser now by default, right? To open a Firefox browser, what we need to do is we need to create an object for Firefox driver, as we just now discussed in our diagram, right? So let me go back to my API, and whatever in this API we have a package called com.thoughtworks.selenium and org.openqa.selenium. So com.thoughtworks.selenium related packages are related to Selenium RC, which is the oldest version of Selenium, and org.openqa.selenium is the packages. So these related packages are newest version, which is nothing but WebDriver, right? So if you go down, you are able to see a package called org.openqa.selenium.firefox. So if you click on this package, under below that you are able to see some set of other classes called Firefox binary and Firefox driver. So just click on Firefox driver. So here in the right side section, you are able to see the details of this class called Firefox driver. So Firefox driver is a class, and we are able to see what is the implemented interfaces, and what are the different summary of the class, and what are the methods we have in the Firefox driver, and what are the different implemented constructors. So all the details we can see here, right? So now let me create an object for this class called Firefox driver, right? To create an object, let me go back to Eclipse. To create any object of a class, we need to write something like this. We are very familiar about that. So new Firefox driver, right? So new Firefox driver, I am creating an object for Firefox driver. So Firefox driver is a class. So once I write some code related to Selenium, it is showing me some error. That means it doesn't know what is a Firefox driver. So it is by just mouse hovering on the error, it is suggesting us some things, right? So create a class called Firefox, or change it to Firefox driver. So let me click on Firefox driver. So by clicking on Firefox driver, I am able to see a new line of code coming and sitting here, which is nothing but import. That means the whatever the object I am creating here, that particular class is located in so and so package of the software, Selenium software. So already this particular Firefox driver is developed by software Selenium developers. We are making use of that software so that we can automate our test cases using the Selenium. That's what we are going to do. Okay, so now I have created an object, and that object I am assigning to a variable called driver, which is of type WebDriver. Okay, as we just discussed. So what we discussed, so I am going to create an object for Firefox driver, and I am going to assign it to a variable called driver, which is of type WebDriver. So WebDriver is an interface in Selenium, which is nothing but it should be present in org.openqa.selenium. Okay, so let's refer this WebDriver interface before going to details. So I'm just clicking on org.openqa.selenium. Under this, we can see an interface called WebDriver. Yes, so we have a WebDriver interface here. Just click on WebDriver interface, and here in the right side you should be able to see all the details related to WebDriver interface, right? And here it is telling, so WebDriver is an interface present in org.openqa.selenium package. And what are the known implementing classes? So the known implementing classes are Chrome driver, right, as we discussed, Internet Explorer driver, Opera driver, Safari driver, and also Chrome driver, Opera, everything. So Firefox also we are able to see here. And if you go down below, they have given some explanation about this WebDriver interface, right? So, and if you go down still, we are able to see some variables and some set of methods. So these are the common methods. So whatever the methods we have in Firefox, whatever the methods we have in interface, WebDriver interface, these methods are common methods for any browser, right? It can be a Safari or Internet Explorer or Chrome or Firefox or anything, whatever it is. So these methods are common methods, right? So using these methods only, we are going to automate our application, right? So let's try to see how can we do it. So just now I have created an object for Firefox, and I have assigned to a variable called driver, which is of type WebDriver, so that I can start accessing all the common methods. So these are common methods present in our interface, right? So let me save this example and see what is going to happen now, right? Run our program. Here we have a button called run as. So just click on this button so that we should be able to see a new Firefox browser will be opened for us, right? So let us see. Yes, new Firefox browser opened and it has stopped. So it's not doing anything else because we have given only those particular actions to do it, right? So that's what it has stopped, right? So now so once the browser is opened, let me write some more line of code to navigate to some application called Gmail application, right? So to access to navigate to the Gmail application, we have a method called get method here under our Selenium API. So what is this get method? Get method is trying to access some string called, which is nothing but URL. So here we are able to see the explanation of that get method also. So what is the explanation? Load a new web page in the current browser window, right? So already we have opened the browser, and to that browser we are going to pass the URL, right? So manual also we are going to do the same. So we are going to open the browser, enter some URL and press on the button. That's what we are going to do. The same thing to do with Selenium. How to call this method called get method. right? To call this method, already I have created an object called WebDriver, which is nothing but driver. So through this variable I can start accessing get method. So just I have taken a get method, just write pause here the URL. So what is the URL? http://www.gmail.com, right? So by writing like this, what is going to happen? A new Firefox browser will be opened once I execute my test, and it is navigating to Gmail application. That means we should be able to see Gmail application has been loaded, right? So let me run this and see whether it is opening the Firefox along with the Gmail application or not, right? So clicking on run button. Yes, a new Firefox browser is opened and it has navigated to Gmail application. Yes, so this is what we are also doing with manual, but now we are doing the same actions with using Selenium software and Selenium API, right? So let's go ahead and go forward and keep developing few more steps. Okay, so my intention is just to click on the next button. So by clicking on the next button, I should be able to see the error message. So I wanted to verify this error message and close the browser. That's what my action items I have to do it, right? So to identify this button, already we know how to identify, right? So let me keep writing some steps for that. Okay, now we have some common method called find element. So if I wanted to identify any element, right? Element is in the sense object. So with human intelligence, I know that this is the place where I wanted to click on the button, but I have to tell to my Selenium that Selenium has to identify this particular button and it has to click on the button. Okay, to identify that, what we can do is we have to start using a method called find element. So this method, what it is going to do, find the first web element using the given method. Okay, so what is given method means, here I am going to pass some method kind of thing, right? So here they are using a class called by class. So let me click on by class. So it will be navigated to a class called by. Okay, and if you go down, it is showing you some list of methods. So what are these methods means, using these methods you should be able to identify the objects on any web page, right? So we have a method called class name, CSS selector, equals, find elements, ID, link text, name, partial link text. So these are the different methods where using these methods we can able to identify the objects on this, right? So let's try to see how can we use these methods. So let me go back. So let me call this method initially, find element. Find element is present inside WebDriver. So let me go back and just write a driver find an element. So I wanted to identify single element, so that's the reason I am taking first one, find element. So how you wanted to identify that element is by, right? So whenever you write by, so why we are going to write by means, by is a class name, right? And inside this class we have some set of methods, right? So all these methods inside this class are static methods. See, if you are looking at the API, class name method is a static method and it is returning something called by, and CSS selector is a method returning static, and ID is also a method, it's returning static, link text is a returning static. So these are all the static methods, right? So as these are all static methods, so if you wanted to or anyone want to access these static methods as we discussed in Java, we should be able to call using class name. So what is our class name? Is our class name. So that's the reason I am going to write like this. Class name is by dot, I am going to select a method called ID. Okay, inside this ID, okay, so let's go back and just see what is ID method. we have a method called id. This id method is trying to access some id here, which is of type string, right? So go back and just pass the id. So what is the id? Go back to your Firefox, and here on the top of the tag we should be able to see an attribute called id. So attribute name is id and value is next. So this value I am copying it and I am going to paste here next. That means, hey WebDriver, you are going to identify some element using this particular locator. So id is the locator, one of the locator. So the value for that id is next. So with the help of this id, WebDriver is going to identify this particular button, right? With the help of this id. Once it is identified, what we need to do, as this is a button, I wanted to perform click option on that. Okay, so I have just selected a method called click on top of this. Okay, by doing this, what is going to happen? So it will navigate to Gmail and straight away it will click on the next button. Okay, so let me run here and then we'll go to next step. So just click on run button. So a new Firefox browser is opening and Gmail application opened, and it straight away came and click on the next button, right? Yes, this is what we are expecting to happen, right? So now what we do? So we have to verify this message is correct or not, right? So how can we verify? So we already know some if-else conditions which we discussed in Java. So using this if-else, I will just verify the message is correct or not. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to create a string expected error message is equal to, inside double quotes I am pasting this. Okay, so this is what I am expecting. Okay, so what I have done, I have just taken my message and I have assigned the message into a variable called string. Now this is my expected message, and also actually I am going to find some message. So this message I will ask my WebDriver to extract from the web page, and I am going to compare both the messages, and if both are matching, then I will just tell my test case is passed, else my test case is failed, right? So let us see how can we achieve. So I am going to do one more thing called string actual error message. So to get actual error message, okay, so once we navigate and once we click on the button, okay, I will tell my WebDriver to extract this message. Okay, so to extract this message, again I wanted to know what is the location the message will be shown, right? So let me inspect this message. Okay, I am able to see, again this is a span tag. See, by mouse hovering on the tag, I am able to see that particular object or location is highlighted, right? So here I have an ID called error message underscore 0 underscore email. So just copy the message. Okay, this is the ID of the message. So from this ID, that means in this ID message is present. So with the help of this ID, I should be able to access the message or extract the message. Okay, let's go and see how can we do it. So driver dot find an element, what you wanted to identify using ID. So what is the ID? So just now I have copied. The ID is error message underscore 0 underscore email, right? So with the help of this, I am going to identify this particular object. So once I identify, I wanted to extract this text, right? To extract the text, I am going to call a method called getText. Okay, just write getText. So this is the name of the method, just select it. Okay, so by writing this get text method, it is going to extract the message, right? It is going to extract the message present in this particular id, right? So once the message is extracted, that message will be stored inside actual error message, right? So now we have two different strings to compare, right? So one is actual and one is expected. So as per our testing standards, so obviously for each and every action we are going to expect something. So in this case, by clicking on the button straight away, I am going to expect this message, right? So that message I have put inside my variable called expected message. In the same way, from this particular place I am to extract using Selenium WebDriver, and that message I have assigned into a variable called actual error message. Okay, now inside if, okay, I am going to call, because both of the things are strings, right? So this is a string and this is a string. So I wanted to compare two strings. To compare two strings, I am going to call equals method on top of one string to another string, right? So how can I call? So just write expected message dot equals of actual error message. Okay, so I'm comparing both of these messages are equal or not, right? So if both of them are equal, then it is going to enter if condition. If both of them are not equal, then it should go to else condition, as we discussed in Java already, right? So inside if, I wanted to print some message like system.out.println text matched, hence test case is passed, right? So if the test is matching, then I wanted to print a test case is passed. Say for example, if both the strings are not matching, then I wanted to print some error message, something like text text not matched, hence test case is failed. Okay, so in this way I have just developed some simple logic, right? So what I have done, so just I have created my simple Gmail demo class. Inside main method, I have created an object for my Firefox, so that I am about to test my application using Firefox driver, and I have assigned an object to variable called driver. So through this variable, I am going to keep on calling some common methods, right? So what I have done, I just navigated to Gmail application. Straight away, without entering username, I have clicked on the next button. That's what I have done. So by clicking on the next button, I am able to see some error message. So that error message I am extracting and storing into a variable called actual error message. Actual means whatever I am able to see on the web page, and expected means what I am going to expect here, right? So I have two different string variables here. So I wanted to compare one string with other string. So if the both of the strings are matching, then this is going to print. If both of the strings are not matching, then this particular message is printed based on the if condition, right? So just save the program and just click on run button. So by clicking on run button, it is going to open a new Firefox browser, and it is navigating to Gmail application, and it has straight away clicked on button, right? And it has, so once we go back, we are able to see text not matched, hence test case is failed. The reason why it is not matching is maybe the time it is extracting is very fast, right? So after clicking, immediately I am trying to extract the message, but it may take some fraction of seconds to show the message, right? So for that reason, what I am going to do is, I am just going to wait some time here. Just how to wait is thread dot sleep. So give some 15 seconds here. So once thread dot sleep, it is going to throw some exception error. So just add throws declaration as of now, right? So just click on that. So what I am going to do is, once I navigate to Gmail and straight away clicking on the button, I wanted to wait for 15 seconds and then I wanted to extract the message and verify, right? So by clicking on the run, I should be able to see the test case is passed now. Right, so it is completed execution. Go back to your Eclipse. Yes, you are able to see test matched, hence test case is passed. So why it is passed now, why it is failed before? Because just I have put some wait condition. So let me comment this wait, let me print both of the messages, right? So just system out println, I wanted to print this particular string, which is nothing but expected error message. After extracting actual, again I wanted to print actual error message. Okay, so by running this, I can see expected as this one and actual as empty. That's the reason it might have failed before, right? So let me run the program. So we should be able to see one string and one more string is empty, and it is failed because empty and some string is not matching. See, here it is empty and here it is some text, right? So both of the strings are not matched, right? So that is the reason it is failing the test case, right? So let me print in more meaningful way. So just write in double quotes expected message, concatenate with the value. So in the same way, inside double quotes, okay, concatenate with the value. So by running now, I should be able to see expected message is something and actual message is empty. So there is nothing. So that's the reason both of the strings, if we compare both of the strings are not matching, right? See, here I am able to see please enter your email, but here I am able to see some space, nothing, that means empty. So empty comparing with please enter your email is entirely different. So that's the reason we are just printing some message like text not matched, hence test case is failed, right? So now what I am going to do, I am uncommenting this wait. Okay, so just I have to wait until the message is coming, right? So just I have given some 15 seconds and then I am going to run the program now. So now I should be able to see actual error message and expected error message, both are same. So the test case is going to pass now, right? So it is executed. Go back, and if you are able to look at this, yes, we have a console. Expected error message is please enter your email. What is actual error message? Please enter your email with dot. So both of these expected and actual error messages are matching. So I am making this particular test case as passed, right? So in this way we have to write some verification test cases, right? So this is the simple example which I have taken, and I have executed some just to make sure this particular error message is correct or not. And if you observe, there are many windows keep on opening every time, see, and it is not closing. So once I am done with my testing, obviously I have to close the browser, every browser manually, right? So instead of we closing these browsers manually, what we can do, we can also write some code in our program itself, right? So how to write that code? So just go to the end and just write driver dot close. So close is a method which we have in a WebDriver as we discussed. So what this method is going to do, it is going to close our browser, right? So if I run the same example again, so it is going to extract, verify, and finally it is going to close my browser, right? So let me verify whether it is going to really close our browser after our testing or not. So just click on run button. A new Firefox browser is going to create for us, and it should be navigating to Gmail application. Entered, clicked on button, yes, extracted the method, finally closed the browser. So if you look at your console, we are able to see expected error message and actual error message, and both are same. That's the reason it is also printing text matched, hence test case is passed. In this way we are going to do our complete testing for any test case, right? So if you go, let's go back to our program and see what are the methods we have used, right? So here I have created an object for my Firefox and I have assigned to a variable called WebDriver, and through this variable I am calling a method called get method, and find element method, click is a method, right? And in the same way get text is a method and close is a method. So all these methods, whatever I have used till now, all these methods we can see here only inside our Selenium API, right? So just now if you remember, we have used close method. So what is the use of close method? Close the current window, quitting the browser if it is the last window currently opened. So that means so there are many windows opened, then it is going to take care of only top level window. So only top level window will be closed if we call close method, right? And find element, we already discussed. To identify any single element, we are going to use find element, right? And next one is find elements. To identify more than one element or one object on the web page, at that time we will be using find element. So we will try to work with this method in future class, right? And get is a method already we discussed. So once if you give any URL inside this, automatically our browser will be navigating to this particular URL, right? In the same way we also have some set of other methods, right? So we will come to know all these methods one by one whenever we are working with Selenium examples, right?